Today, going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have Rick and Morty Season 7 trailer being lambasted and ratioed, as the youth might say, and their approval rating is down 40%. Yeah, it's, again, I know public schools are all-time low in terms of every metric of, testing, whether it's history, math, or science, partially because the teachers actually are teaching many ideologies and actually mathematics these days. So, needless to say, we'll do a little fun math here today. 40% approval rating is terrible. That means less than half of people do not approve of this new production, which, again, less than half is not good. Many would say the glass is technically, in fact, half empty, or a little bit more than half empty, actually. Some people call them pessimists, but that's just, technically it is a thing. Now, this comes after they fired the co-creator and main voice actor, Justin Roiland, after he had allegations against him for some of the most morally depraved things you can do with the women. Now, thankfully, he was proved innocent in court. So it appears that it was a false accusation. And, of course, unfortunately, in the United States, there used to be a place where people are proven innocent or innocent until proven guilty. Unfortunately, now you have quite the antithesis. You are guilty day one, and maybe someday people will remember you were acquitted. So, unfortunately, the opposite has happened. And in terms of the trailer, they tried for 6 months to get new voice actors, and this was the best they can do. Now, Morty sounds pretty close, I'll give him that much, but this voice actor for Rick, I don't know if this person just never heard the show before, or they just had no practice, or it boggles my mind how bad it is. So we'll play the Season 7 trailer, and this one, it's only about a minute 30, but it'll let you hear the new voices of Rick and Morty, which, yeah.
Hey look, Morty! I'm a leg! A leg, Morty! Any progress? I found the version of me that killed my wife. You just missed it.
Can I ask if you're currently a hologram?
Yeah, hold on. One sec. Do we know anyone sober? Have you been drinking?
On a Thursday?
How long does a society take to collapse?
Let's find out.
It's almost as if they had cotton in his mouth for some of these scenes. Like, and he hasn't burped once, which is kind of part of the the iconic part of his voice is he's a cliche drunk scientist. So usually in the majority of dialogue, it seems as if he's burping, which, again, you're almost halfway through this preview, you're not hearing that kind of the trademark thing.
I'm telling you, man, you're making a big mistake here.
Now that does sound pretty much like Morty. And again, Justin Roiland did a bunch of the voices. You see this with a lot of creative anime and a lot of startups. When you have a very limited number of resources, well, a lot of people have to wear multiple hats, which is part of the excitement of working with small businesses or starting small businesses. There's a lot of opportunity because of those gaps in the talent pool or just the gaps in the company. You got to fill them in organically yourselves. You saw this with The Simpsons, where you had original voice actors to cover a myriad of roles.
Who's ready for Rick's famous spaghetti? I said I was sorry.
No, you didn't.
I said it quietly. Shut up.
Dad, you had a job interview, right?
Bombed it. Whose car is this? Whose sun visor is this? What's a sun?
I was wondering if you could help me out with a bit of a rake situation.
A rake situation?
Well, that last one was just for shock value.
What do you say, Rick? To fly through space, come upon something, maybe I have a moral objection? Rick and Morty, we're back, baby!
Rick and Morty.
So that was the trailer, and again, the Morty voice was pretty good. That was pretty on point. I mean, never once did I really think that the Rick voice was him. And again, when it comes to entertainment, that's terrible. You're removing the audience from the situation because in their head they're thinking, this isn't right. This isn't what I'm used to. You're breaking the illusion of being inside and being a part of the experience, being a part of the material. And again, it's almost as if someone was scratching their fingernails against a chalkboard. What? That's kind of how I felt when I was watching this. Like, just now, of course, it looks the same. Thanks to it's the same animation crew, I believe, but it just sounds so weird. Now, this is on YouTube, thanks to the Nerdist, which A+ for marketing. You know they're nerds, and I appreciate that. And they posted a nerdy thing. Makes sense. Now, in terms of the feedback, it looks like they got 476 comments. And it's got about 182,000 views, although only 1,600 likes. Let me see here. It looks like these are kind of mixed in terms of the feedback of people who. I mean, the main topic for all these comments is pretty much about the fact that the voices are different. Now, let's see here. Somebody named Brandon Grigsby said, quote, "It's weird, like sometimes Rick sounds just slightly off, then he sounds spot on. Morty is right there. I'm Ho. Either way, the new VAs are good to me as long as the writing is still solid. Can't wait," unquote. Got 446 likes on that comment. Now, I believe Justin, there's a lot of debate of when he stopped being a primary writer for the show. A lot of the articles I was reading saying that Justin Roiland, the co-creator and the voice actor for many of the actual people in the, I was about to say film, they haven't made a movie yet, but in the actual cartoon, it sounds like after season 3, Justin's participation in the writing had decreased. Now, it looks like someone by the name of Darth Sinister responded to that original comment saying the writing should be fine since it's the same team, only time will tell. Which, they get an A+ for that saying, because that's a cool saying. I might be a little biased, though. We'll find out later. Time shall tell. Nevertheless, you have other interesting comments. Mr. Joe Justo saying, quote, "I feel like I'm in another universe dimension hearing these Rick and Morty voices," unquote, getting 326 likes. Now you have someone who does appreciate the new voices, Mr. Vigo Loves You, saying, quote, "I think the new voices fit just fine as long as the writing doesn't decline. It's easy to do a show like Rick and Morty," unquote, getting 237 likes. Let's see here. Someone by the name of Brent Loaf saying, quote, "The voices are going to be very hard to get used to, though I'm glad that most of the time they're spot on. Can't imagine how hard it is to find someone that can imitate the voices exactly, so I'm not blaming them or saying that is all a bad thing. Honestly, just can't wait," unquote. Grammar be damned. It's find, not fine, nevertheless. Let's see here. Suna9555 said, quote, "Honestly, Rick and Morty generally sounded good, but you can definitely tell there's been a change around the edges, like when Rick laughs, rages, and raises his voice, while Marty's is noticeable when he slightly changes his voice overall, but I'd probably get used to it," unquote, getting 39 likes. Let's see here. Someone did have the same conclusion I had. Vindu Tawari said, quote, "Marty sounds pretty good. Rick, not enough burps," unquote, getting 77 likes with that comment. Now, in terms of the reason their score has dropped so precipitously with Rotten Tomatoes, now, in terms of the season breakdown, overall, they've been really good throughout the years. I mean, season 1 of Rick and Morty got 97%. Season 2 got 91%. Season 3 got 93%. Or no, 96%. Scratch that. Season 4 got 96% as well. Season 5 got 86%. Went down a little bit. Season 6 was 91%. And Season 7 is in at 63%. Granted, only a couple episodes that premiered. Now, it looks like the tomato meter, which comes from the... I was going to say, does anyone really... I was about to say respectful reviewers. Does anyone really respect like a movie reviewer these days? Except this critique right now is perfect and awesome, obviously. But now, nevertheless, the professionals, quote unquote, their tomato meter is at 63%. The audience score, based on 100 plus ratings, 32%. That is on par with the number of Americans or the approval rating for U.S. government these days. Or perhaps a little bit higher. But nevertheless, that's not good. So actually, there are a bunch of comments as well in terms of being fresh. While it doesn't have a fresh rating, they are fresh in terms of the comments are from today. Now, let me see here. Someone by the name of Blake, and we'll look at a couple of top comments here, saying, quote, "This isn't a good sign. Voice actors aside, something was greatly lacking in this episode. It didn't feel very intelligently sci-fi-like in the past, and the jokes are kind of amateurs. Maybe the season needs some transition time, but if it carries on like this episode, I don't see the series going much longer." Somebody named of Geonix P saying, quote, "Why do all the voices sound different? Oh, that's right. The fans would be proud of that shark jump," unquote. Yeah, it's one of those things where, and actually, I forgot the number of characters. Now I'm curious. How many voices did Justin do? In Rick and Morty. Let's see. That's what fandoms say. Because I'm curious, how many voices did he do? Oh, yeah. So let's count the number of voices that are now different because they fired the co-creator. And again, allegations day one, they fired him, Cartoon Network. And then later we found out in court he's proven to be innocent. Now, it looks like he did the voice of Rick Sanchez, Morty Smith, Mr. Meesinks, Rixty Minutes, which include those are the entertaining commercials they had within the show. So we'll do them all. We'll count all those voices in the commercials that they created in the show as well. So you got Rick Sanchez, Morty Smith, Mr. Meesinks, Ants in My Eyes Johnson, Gazoptoport, Baby Legs, Real Fake Door Salesman, Top Hat Jones, Albert Einstein, Mr. Poopy Butthole, Teddy Manson, Cromulans. You also have other commercials including Randy Dicknose, Eye Holes Man, Jan Michael Vincent, Steely Comedian, Michael Thompson, Michael Thompson, Octopus Man, Noob, Truth Tortoise, Glare, Michael, Mr. Always to Be Hunted, and Mr. Frundles. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 voices gone. Or more accurately, the voice of 25 characters is gone. And granted, a couple of these were just not reoccurring every episodes, but kind of sporadic with their parody of these commercials they see on Alien TV. Mr. Ants in My Eyes Johnson suffering from a very real and very tragic medical condition in which he has ants in his eyes. Some might say that's even more annoying than my stuttering. A debate to be had in the comment section today. So about 25 voices will be different. That's going to have a huge impact, of course. Let's see here. Someone by the name of Alexander K saying, quote, "Seriously dull, so disappointing, not only because of the unnecessary voice changes, but the writing is just awful. Literally no funny jokes, just nonsense." Someone by the name of Honest D saying, quote, "3 episodes in and I have not found a single entertaining, cool, or funny thing yet," unquote. Although for such a negative review, he did give more than 1 star. He gave them 1.5 stars out of 5. Why were you so generous with that half star, sir? I believe, can you do 0 stars? You can, because a lot of these comments are half a star. Ooh, that's rough. Somebody by the name of Young D, again, saying, "Bring Roland back or the show is dead." Chris H saying, "Like the Adult Swim itself, this shell of a once great thing needs to be put out of everyone's misery," unquote. Andrew B saying, "The new voice actors are terrible. The writing is brutal, very uninspiring and flat. Bring JR back." JR being Justin Roiland. Ryan D saying, "Ian Cardoni and Harry Belvin have absolutely 0 chemistry. The voices slip in and out on believability, making any sense of enjoyment hard to obtain. I think there is only one option that can save the series now, and it's return of Roland," unquote. A lot of these comments saying just bring him back. Now, a couple people are positive, because again, it's not a 0, it's 30, what is it, 32? 32%. So there are some people who do approve of it. There's some of the U.S. government. Some people think they're doing a great job. I've never met those people, but presumably they exist, and they certainly do exist online because they're very loud there. Now, somebody by the name of Seymour D saying, quote, I don't understand what everyone hates about this season so far. The new voice actors are doing a great job in their roles to the point where I can't even tell the difference. There were more... Grammar's terrible. So I'm going to read exactly what he says. There were more tons of great jokes in this episode too. The whole Hugh Jackman joke was so funny. Same as the Predator joke. It was overall a great episode in a series that continues to be consistently entertaining, unquote. And he gave him 5 stars, interestingly enough. Now, some of the mid reviews include some by the name of Zach F. saying, quote, has lost touch with the core material. Sci-fi adventures with a sloppy, high-functioning alcoholic genius and his grandson through the multiverse has turned into a pop culture portrayals with cinematic elements and slightly better animation, unquote. Now, interestingly enough, this isn't the first time there's been controversy around Adult Swim replacing voice actors and firing people. I think the best well-known example would be Squidbillies, which is a fascinating phenomenon in which you had squids who are hillbillies living on land, which, if you ask a U.S. public school, they might very well believe that to be scientifically accurate, that they can live on land. They can't, but nevertheless, is a show about squids living on the land, and the main voice actor was very recognizable. He was a country musician, he had a whole persona called, Henson? Let's see. Now I've got voice actor. Unknown Henson, that's what it was. And it was a very iconic voice. It was very unique, and everyone liked it. And then he said something political on the Twitter, and of course, and interesting enough, given his persona, and when he goes and plays musicians, he's dressed up in this persona. I guess he tweeted in the perspective of the persona he plays. But nevertheless, Cartoon Network subsequently canceled him and replaced the main squid's voice with, I think it was what was his name? Voice actor, Squidbillies, new? Tracy Morgan? Which, again, so they didn't even try to get close to the main voice actor. They went the exact opposite, basically. And the ratings precipitously crashed. Everyone in the comment section on social media was just lambasting the decision. And the show kind of lost its magic because you're removing a core element that people fell in love with at the beginning. Now, with this rating being so low for Rick and Morty, again, Cartoon Network, that entity, I won't say it's on life support. When's the last time you heard of a hit show coming off of Cartoon Network? Probably the same odds as something like Fox, who produced that 70s show, Family Guy, Simpsons. In decades, those are the only 3 achievements you could easily point to at Fox News. Fox is the studios, which, again, they eventually failed so bad they sold it off to Disney, like everything. So it's one of those things where Cartoon Network doesn't have a lot of hits. This is, again, kind of the very nature of media and publishing, very similar to publishing books. It's a numbers game. So you're hoping you find that needle in the haystack that really knocks out of the park and makes you just successful. As opposed to most of the books that are published, you lose money, fiscally speaking. Now, in this case, Rick and Morty, it was a huge cultural phenomenon in the United States. People loved that show. And subsequently, they made huge amounts of money off of all the merchandise they produced. Seemingly, they put their logo and their brand on everything, which, again, is great for them. It was a huge achievement. They knocked it out of the park. They even had another show called, I believe, Solar Opposites, which was, I believe, was exclusively on Hulu, but I believe it was the same co-creators as well, and knocked it out of the park. And because of this false accusation against the co-creator Justin Roiland, he lost everything. So it'll be interesting to see, with all the information we have currently, will fans, I don't know if they're going to write petitions to Cartoon Network, will they just tune out completely? Will the corporate company behind it, will they be satisfied with the quote-unquote new norm of adoption in terms of people who are tuning in? It could be like Bud Light, where the parent company is just fine losing 30% of their sales. It's kind of leveled off. So It'll be interesting to see. Let me know in the comments. Are you going to stop watching Rick and Morty because of the voice swap? Or will you continue to tune in and kind of tolerate it? Let me know. Could you not tell when we went over the trailer that the voice was different? Again, to me, I think Morty is pretty close. But I would say the voice for Rick just, I don't know, it just didn't cut it in my opinion. I think there are people who actually have really popular YouTube channels who do impersonations of Rick Sanchez, who again is the main character in Rick and Morty. But that I can't believe Cartoon Network were just not prudent enough to hire them, because I've heard better impersonations just on the internet. So it'll be interesting to see. Let me know what you're thinking. I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Don't forget, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of October. So if you could click that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, the feedback is greatly appreciated if you put comments in the videos. I always try to get to them as soon as possible and try to take that feedback to make the show better and better for everyone. Also, if you take the time to like the video and share the video, that's supposed to help with the YouTube algorithm. Hard to say how they program it these days, but if you do those things, I greatly appreciate it. Lastly, and also, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.